Hi, welcome to Gene Rants. I'm Gene. So much happening in the world today, but I just thought for a change, news item, I just had to add a certain comment that I have. Advice, actually. So just a little diversion today. And speaking of diversions, what I'll be talking about is some very clever and brazen thieves, as I'm sure everybody knows, diverted some some priceless jewels from the Louvre. Very well, as you probably already know, they masqueraded as workmen. They pulled up a giant cherry. They call them cherry pickers. You know those giant cranes. If you have to get to, you can rent them. If you have to get to a higher floor, it's like a gantry. You climb up. They went through an upper story window, walked right in. The whole thing took 7 minutes. The actual theft took. They had a chainsaw and they just chainsawed into a display case and just took a whole bunch of jewels. One, there was this crown. Everything is priceless. A priceless crown belonging to some queen. They dropped that one on the way out, so that was recovered. But now the question is, and well, one thing I would ask: where did that crane come from? The thieves, I read that the original plan was to burn the crane. I don't know how you do that, made out of metal, but yeah, where did the crane come from? Somebody either owned that crane or rented it. It had to come from somewhere, probably a serial number on the crane somewhere, trace it back to the manufacturer, maybe find out who to whom it was sold. So maybe that's one lead they're following to try to catch these thieves. But if you're the thief, well, a little advice I have. I never thought I would be giving advice to a thief, but I do. I guess what would I do if I were one of the thieves? Because now they have a problem. They have these. Well, they're not just jewels taken from a display case or something in a jewelry store. These are historic artifacts. So, I mean, one of them, at least one of them, contains thousands of diamonds, and maybe they're going to remove all the diamonds and fence them and sell them separately. They cannot, unless some very wealthy collector paid them a lot of money, to the thieves a lot of money, and intends to keep these things in a private collection. I don't know how you sell. How you sell? Obviously, they're easily identified, but what do you do with them now that you have them? Maybe they plan to just remove all the diamonds, but that takes a lot of time. Then you have to sell all the diamonds. I would go, if I were they, I would go for a quick buck. This is my advice. It's something, I guess you'd call it a physical manifestation of ransomware, or, well, you know, ransomware where hackers hack into some, say, an airline's database, and then seals it off, and then demands millions of dollars in Bitcoin, untraceable Bitcoin, to in order to in exchange for giving the password to unlock all the data that has been locked. Or you could think of it as my advice, akin to kidnapping, where you kidnap somebody and then you demand a ransom to get somebody back, and the kidnappee back. So maybe you can see where I'm going with this. If I were the thieves, I would take all this, because, well, they're saying, I read one article said $10 million, which to me is far from priceless. Everything else I've been reading says priceless. But we'll just go with it with the $10 million. I mean, that's a pretty good amount. I would even, what I would do is I would take all these jewels, these art things that I stole, that we stole. I would bury them, hide them somewhere, and, you know, mark the coordinates or do something so that they can be found again. And then I would contact the French government, or I would contact the museum, or both, and I would say, give us $8 million, and we'll tell you in Bitcoin, untraceable Bitcoin, and we'll tell you where the artifacts are, and you just go pick them up. And then the question is, if you're the French government, or if you're the Louvre, do you want to just depend on the police to catch these guys and find the things, when for $8 million you can get everything back right away. If I were they, because a lot of companies have already done this with ransomware, I would just pay the $8 million, or get some idea of the value of, say, if they say priceless, what if they're worth $50 million? I mean, you can go, if it's $10 million, ask for the whole $10 million, because the museum's not trying to make a profit, obviously. They just want these, and they will only go up in value as the years go by. But if worth $50 million, and ask for $40 million, something. Just don't, don't have your hot hands on those hot jewels. Get rid of them, hide them somewhere, and then if I were they, I would leave the country. I would have planned this in advance, go to some other country where you're beyond extradition of the French, extraditing the criminals back to France. Just go somewhere outside of the country, and then contact the museum and possibly the French government, or both, and say, okay, give us however many millions of dollars, and we'll just tell you where the everything is, and you can go pick it up. And wouldn't it be interesting? That's my idea. And wouldn't it be interesting if the thieves actually do what I suggested, either because they saw this video or they already thought of it, and I'm a criminal mastermind, criminal genius, without even knowing it, and I predicted what they would do. I had the same idea. Great minds, I guess, great criminal minds think alike. So maybe I'm a great criminal mind. In which case, why am I standing here doing this vlog? I could go out, steal some jewels, and be a multimillionaire, and I could still do the vlog later from points unknown. And that's it for today. Thanks for stopping by. If you have any thoughts or ideas for the thieves, suggestions for the thieves, you can put them in the comment section below the video. If you could subscribe, that would really be great. Share this video with anyone you think could benefit from it. But most of all, come back and see me again. I'd love to see all of you again. And until I do see all of you again, bye.